Watergate. Nixon and His Gang, 1974. Ceramic sculpture.
This piece is a reflection of my reaction to the Watergate scandal. The men are depicted as geese to show how animalistic they became as a result of the scandal. The goose was certainly cooked. Nixon, being the central figure, is surrounded by John Mitchell, John Ehrlichman, John Dean, and H.R. Haldeman. All of them have nooses around their necks and have their feet in shackles. On the back of the sculpture, you will see that the three in the center have exposed bones, indicating their bones have been picked clean by the media.
Tired Hero. 1948. Bronze. 1950 through 1970. Copper over plaster.
The common man, woman, and child, the soldier who goes to war though he regrets killing, not the blob who instigates all the trouble, is the true symbol of courage of man on earth.
Andrew Hayes and Alan Akes describe the work in Steffen Thomas, Freedom of the Figure.
The tired and broken soldier has returned from the war and now depends upon his wife for support. The young boy is afraid of war, the broken condition of his father, and of the hardware of war that lies around him. But even in the father's tired and broken state, he gently pushes the boy forward.
The small bronze model was created as a study for a war memorial which I did not receive the commission for, but decided to enlarge it to heroic scale on my own because I felt so strongly about the message.
Throughout his work, you can see the repeated themes of brotherhood of mankind and nurturing the next generation. This large-scale model was executed in plaster and later covered in welded copper. Peter the First, circa 1960. Welded steel with brazing.
As in many families, pets were always an important part of our household. Peter the First was our beautiful Siamese cat, a true friend and faithful companion to the family. He belonged to my daughter Robin, and would accompany me on my walks and boating excursions near Stone Mountain. The handsome feline is immortalized in this far larger-than-life welded steel and brazed sculpture. Peter's stance was reminiscent of the cats depicted on the walls of the tombs of Egyptian pharaohs. Many years later, when my wife and I moved back to Midtown Atlanta, we acquired another Siamese kitten and named him Peter II, in memory of our beloved Peter I.
Mammy, 1932. Bronze on carved Indiana limestone base. Pathos, 1970. Welded steel with brazing.
Mammy, the bronze statue on carved Indiana limestone base, was created in 1932 when I was hired by an Atlanta woman to teach her clay modeling. She wanted to create a bronze portrait of an African-American woman who had been employed by her family for many years but was now sick. We worked alongside each other and created our own versions. My sculpture is a monument to the beauty and strength of Southern black women who spent their lives caring for other people's children. Mammy was used as the model for the heroic scale, welded steel version of the monument called Pathos.
The people and conditions that Thomas saw in the American South were depicted in several of his works. Perhaps much of his perception of the black condition and his response to it are based upon his experiences with George Washington Carver, whom he came to know during the modeling for the Carver Monument installed at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. The Carver bust was one of the early commissions Thomas received after his arrival in the United States, and the experience led to great mutual admiration and respect between the artist and the scientist. Pamina, circa 1955, mixed media, with carved frame by the artist.
This painting is based on my impressions from Mozart's opera, The Magic Flute. The central figure is Pamina. The figure in the lower right is the Queen of the Night, representing all that is evil. And the image shown in the upper left represents Papagena, symbolizing life and earth. The temple of the sun god is depicted in the frame, which I personally carved. Later in life, when I had more time to work on my own creative ideas, I experimented with many unusual materials and techniques, The medium and technique used in Pamina is an example of my interest in the abstract expressionist artists and their use of new materials such as epoxies and polyester resin, as well as their technique of dripping this type of paint onto canvases. I chose to use more control with the dipping technique and often added asphalt to my mix.
This painting was selected by the Georgia Council for the Arts to be in a book they published in 2009, entitled Georgia Masterpieces, Selected Works from Georgia Museums.